Sorry for the delay. And call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Can a roll call, please?
Trustee Ingarrett. Present. Trustee Ochapente. Trustee Salahuddin. Vice President Lee.
Here.
President Tejada.
Here. Can approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There is nothing to report out of closed session. And now for recognitions and commendations. We have November Student of the Month from Jefferson High School. I'm going to present Mr. John Harrigan.
Good evening. Jefferson High School is proud to present Angelica Martinez, a 12th grade student who has earned unreserved respect and admiration from students and staff alike, as the JUHSD Student of the Month for November. Angelica, or Jelly, as a lot of people call her, has demonstrated perseverance and tenacity as she overcame the odds and competed on the Jefferson High School football team. She showed us all that young ladies should never be held back by gender or societal expectations by playing a sport that has been predominantly played by men. Entering high school is a scary experience for many students, but Angelica was unfazed by the transition and even put herself out there by trying out for the JV football team as a 9th grade student. Through her passion and hard work, she made the team and thus began her journey in the Grizzly football program. She has continued to make the football team each year and is actually the first female student to play football for 4 years at Jefferson High School.
Woo!
And in case you didn't know, that's like 100 years. In addition to football, Angelica has also been a leader for our Unity Day program this year. Unity Day, a new program for Jefferson this year, is designed to push students to step out of their comfort zones through activities that challenge them to reflect on stereotypes, beliefs, and actions. Unity Day helps students develop a greater understanding of their classmates and foster awareness of actions which promote unity. Angelica was one of the first students that staff recommended to help lead this new program. Just like football, she jumped right in and has excelled as a leader. She has a warm and welcoming personality and presence that helps other people feel welcome, at ease, and important. She is able to be vulnerable and genuine, which sets the stage for all of us to do the same. And she has a magnificent smile, if you haven't seen it. Her ambition, determination, and dedication has and will continue to pave the road for young girls to never fall into despair, nor feel discouraged, but hold their head high and continue chasing their dreams and passions. Angelica Martinez has truly been a role model to all current and future Jefferson High School students and the wider public who are able to hear her story. We are definitely a stronger and better community due to her contributions on campus, on the field, and in the classroom. On behalf of the faculty and staff, we are immensely proud of Angelica and forever grateful to her parents for entrusting us to be a part of her journey. Congratulations, Angelica. Jefferson High School and JUHSD are very proud of you.
Yes, we are.
She just left basketball to come
So I'd like to open it up to the board who was here for any
In
comments.
all of all your accomplishments, I just want to say I'm sorry to interrupt you, Trustee Chen, but congratulations, your family, great job, family, and yes, great job, family, great job, Mom, and please continue to break those barriers because we appreciate it and we want you to do so as well for all of us here. So thank you.
Yes, congratulations. And I just have to know, what position did you play?
I was a wide receiver, corner, and kicker.
Woo, howdy.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Great. Congratulations. Well done.
Okay, so I went to Jefferson High School, and at the end of my freshman year in 1978, I told some of my teachers I was going to go out for football. And I can't tell you how many they talked me out of it. They scared me out of it. I did not even tell my family because, frankly, I didn't think my Filipino mom would support me. And my brothers who played football probably would not have supported me. So when I found out you were Student of the Month, I was just like, she's doing it for all of us.
That's right.
And I am so impressed with you in that you're not just a leader on the field, but at the school. We need more people like you. You're an inspiration. I'm so proud that I can say I went to the same school you went to. And thank you, family. She couldn't do it without your support. It's amazing in the Jefferson community. So I'd just like to, let's have another round of applause. We'd like to take a picture with you and the family with your award. If we can get over there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we go. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Yes.
Hello, hello, hello.
Well, that's a tough act to follow, Clayton.
For sure.
So now we'd like to recognize the service to our district of very special individual, Clayton Koo. Where is he? Could you stand up here, please? So Clayton Koo just finished 7 years on the Board of Trustees for the Jefferson Elementary School District. But our board would like to recognize the hard work and dedication of Mr. Koo to our district and our community. He is a JUHSD graduate from Terra Nova. He's worked alongside us on 2 of our funding measures, Measure E, our parcel tax, and Measure J, a bond. Since the pandemic, he's been at our food banks, our food distributions. He's done Serramonte Del Rey outreach and campaigning. And on top of that, he used to he helps with the gift wrapping at Serramonte with Westmore and Jefferson. So we have a certificate for you, but it's not fully signed, so we'll get that to you. But we just want to recognize your amazing work on the school board and your help with us, because we all know that if we need something done, we go to Clayton. And you've been such a great friend to us. I'd like to open it up to.
Well, it's
Our
my
board.
turn to speak, and I get more than 2 minutes, unlike your board meeting last week. And I didn't expect you to be here, although I should have since you were on the agenda. But I do want to reiterate again all the things that I said about you last week, that you have been a great friend. You have been a great colleague for me. I appreciate all the conversations that we've had, all the camaraderie. I know, there are not many of us in this position. So there's not many of us to talk to when there are times of needs and when you want to look for advice and support. So thank you for all the time that I've had to call you and you've had to call me to talk things through and try to make the best decisions we can for our community and serving our students. Thank you for, directly affecting, my children's education, Riley and Bryce, who are obviously in elementary school at this time, for all the policies and ethnic studies, things that you've approved in your district to kind of bridge that gap so that when they get to JUHSD, that they'll be well-rounded and more aware of the things that they should be learning once they get here. So, I am so inspired by your gift of service to others. You are always at events and you don't even have your own kids. And for you to do that and be selfless and be of service for others in our community, I think that is just, for me, it's appreciation beyond words. And you're not here for accolades or to show people you do things. You just show up and you help. And one of your, the trustee for the city college school board, she comes and she says, I thought you just helped me, but you help everyone. But you make people feel like you only help them because you give so much of yourself. So for that, I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful for your friendship, and I'm glad that we're recognizing you today. And I'm glad I got to say all these other things that I didn't get to say within the 2 minutes last week. So thank you, Trustee Koo. I appreciate you personally very much. So thank you for being a friend. I'm sorry that was very
Oh, Clayton, our board careers, at least until this moment, has basically been in parallel. I mean, I've known you 8 years now, but have been, trustee on this district and you and yours for the past 7 years. And it's just so funny because, we were at the same new board member orientation with San Mateo County School Board Association, as well as at the California School Board Association new board member training. So we've lived parallel lives when it comes to this, even with you doing all the work that you've done with Jefferson Elementary's new faculty and staff housing, which, is, again, only a year and a half behind us. And it's really fantastic to see that we've been able, again, to have parallel trustee lives. And just to echo what Ms. Garrett said, you are, it's important for those of us who are on school boards to have other school board member friends, since we're really, because of the Brown Act, we really can't really talk about some of these things with each other, but with other trustees we can. And so thank you as well for being one of those sounding boards for me over the past 7 years. And I wish you well in the next step in your journey. And thank you so much for being a friend to me and being a friend to this district.
Okay, Clayton. I've known Clayton since 2013. After I beat breast cancer, I decided I wanted to join Relay for Life, the American Cancer Society. And the first meeting I went to, he was up there, one of the leaders of this Relay for Life that they held at Westmore. And so I immediately was thinking, who is this young guy? I mean, he's just leading this whole thing. And we just became really fast friends. And I had my little girl in tow the whole time. And now she's a freshman in high school, in college. She's a freshman in college, but she always affectionately calls him her arch nemesis because, he's like the big brother that she could actually talk back to. And so, but then as I got to know you, I knew there was so much more to you that you wanted to do for the community. You did Relay for Life because you had a family member who had died from cancer. And we did such great work there. And then I got appointed to the school board. And when I ran for school board for reelection, you were right there with me, knocking on doors, doing everything with our little crew of Westmore students and a bunch of kids my daughter's age. And then you decided you wanted to join. You wanted to run for school board. And there were people who were really skeptical. Why would this young man in his 20s want to run for school board for the elementary school district? And some people were saying that it was just a stepping stone to higher office. And those of us who knew you knew, no, he loves this school district. He wants to be of service. And now 7 years later, you've helped bring workforce housing to your district. I'm just kind of overcome right now because I'm looking at you and seeing how you've not aged. But you've always been so mature. But with, you've also been a leader, a CSBA leader throughout the state and the county and on delegate assembly. I mean, that's a lot of commitment on top of your full-time job, which is really stressful. And that you and I loved working with you, helped pass the first ever parcel tax for Jefferson Elementary School District. You worked on the bond. I mean, anything having to do with education and trying to help fund our very poor districts. That's what our boards do because we have to. But I think you really love doing it. And I'm just so grateful that I could say I knew you went because you're part of my family, And I'll have to say that you're the only school board member for the elementary school district who allowed himself to get dunked at a school carnival. He did the dunk tank, and my daughter dunked him twice. And it was like and actually you were a coach for the basketball team at Tobias, and all of his students, all of his players were lined up just trying to dunk him. And that's how much they loved you. So, and I love you too, Clayton, you know that. And congratulations on great 7 years and for helping all of our students all over the state, actually. And good luck to you. We're tied together, so I know what you're up to. But thank you so much. Would you like to say anything?
I just say thank you for the recognition honor. Being a former high school district alum from Terra Nova, this means a lot, especially knowing that sort of being a student from Terra Nova, having gone through public schools and being able to actually make a difference in my community. Just really grateful for sort of that foundation that you provide for me. Thank you to all of you, as well as pretty much everybody across the high school district for helping me make this possible. I know there's a lot of collaboration across elementary and high school districts regarding workforce housing, ethnic studies, curriculum, you name it. So I just want to say thank you for all that, and thank you to all of you. It's been a great honor to work with you guys for the past 7 years or so in school board settings, in non-school board settings, and just, as I said last week, just kind of build lifelong connections and friendships. To me, that's probably more meaningful than probably anything else along the way. So I just want to say thank you for all of this, and thank you for the recognition today as well.
And happy birthday. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here tonight.
We took a photo first, and then we had your certificate. We ran to go get it.
Oh, okay.
I think Chelsea can do that.
Oh, okay.
Are you coming? No.
Sing.
Congratulations. We're not letting you go too far.
That's right.
We're not letting you go too far.
Now on for communications, board report.
I'm going to have nothing to report because I think I've said enough for today. But thank you for the offer. Oh, but have a restful Thanksgiving week next week, please. And thank you all for all you do. I'm thankful for all of you, teachers and staff. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Lee?
I'm just looking at my calendar to see what I've done in the past couple of weeks. There's been a lot, but today we did have the Pacifica Joint Articulation Meeting, City of Pacifica, us, Pacifica School District, and the North Coast County Water District. So it was good to be able to just connect with them, just to see what's happening in our respective agencies. And just good to know what's happening both at the city level, also with what's going on with the Water District, and of course with PSD. A lot of exciting things, the report out certainly from the city with regards to the work that they're doing on the housing element and work with their economic opportunity studies to look at things that they are doing in the business districts in Pacifica, as well as, reporting out on just some of the issues that they have, a couple of their measures that appear to be passing, like Measure Y, which will be a revenue generator for the city, looks to be on track to win, as well as, and their other measure with regards to fireworks appears to be on its way to failing. So there we go. It was crazy. So other than that, not a whole lot. We can just keep moving on.
So I attended the Student Advisory Council meeting last night. It's very productive. I always love meeting with the students. Let's see. And this Saturday at 7:30 is going to be the PCT Honors, or Pacific Coast TV is going to give their annual honors to local community members who've served the community. And some of those being honored include Terra Nova's teacher extraordinaire, Alyssa Jenkins, and our very own from the district office, Mike O'Neill, and as well as myself. So I'm totally floored by it, but I'm completely humbled and honored. And if you would like to watch the live stream, you can go to pacificcoast.tv or watch it on channel 26 or 27. And now on for the superintendent report.
So good evening, President Tejada. Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, Ms. Presta is ill tonight and not able to join for the meeting. And I do not have anything to report other than that.
All right. So now for the AFT Local 1481 report. Ms. Casey? Nothing to report. Okay. I might speak later. Okay, great. And do we have a COVID-19 update?
The only thing to note is that in an effort to reduce the risk of outbreaks, the students and staff will be given COVID test kits prior to Thanksgiving break with instructions to test before they return. We hope this will cut down on the numbers of cases following holiday travel.
Okay, thank you. The consent agenda?
Move to approve consent.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now public comment?
There will be one, but at a later agenda item.
Okay, thank you. And now, a presentation from the Daly City Youth Health Center, Project Play.
I'll just,
Are you changing the slides or?
so, you can do it with either the arrow or the mouse.
Oh, okay. Nora, can you do that for me?
So I just wanted to do a quick introduction that Ms. Presta would have done had she been here. I just wanted to say I'm really pleased tonight that we'll have the opportunity to showcase one of these important programs in our district. Project Play may be lesser known to some, so that's really why I'm extra excited to have it be featured tonight. They play a key role in supporting our students' wellness And McKinnon Ross is going to tell you more, and I'm sure will introduce everyone else that she's brought with her tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. So I am McKinnon Ross. I am the manager of Project Play, and here I have. Go ahead.
I'm Nora. I work as the health educator for Project Play.
And each of the students that we brought with us will share a testimonial, so they'll share their name and what school they were from or are from. But at the end here, we have Sahar Naveed.
Hello, I'm Sahar, and I'm also the program coordinator for Project Play.
So I just want to thank the JUHSD board for giving Project Play time to share about our wonderful programs and their impact on students and the JUHSD community. Play stands for Peer Leadership Alternatives for Youth, and at our core, we're about cultivating leadership skills, resiliency, and healthy development of young people. So Play was established in 1996, and we have 3 main branches. The first is Sex Ed Squads, which are safe spaces for youth to connect and learn about sensitive topics after school. During their time with us, they are trained to become peer educators and advocates. And then our our health education branch delivers a high-quality program for the 10-day sex education curriculum that covers 92% of the California Healthy Youth Act, or CHIA, requirements, and allows us to go more in depth into these sensitive topics and subjects with health teachers covering anatomy to achieve that full state requirement. And finally, we have our Condom Access Project, or CAP, branch, where we train staff and sex ed squad members to distribute free condoms to youth. We also provide leadership development and internship opportunities through Play. So first we have Sex Ed Squad. What is it? It's held once a week throughout the year at each school and are built around issues that are most important to youth. Squad members learn about healthy sexuality, relationships, identity, boundaries, resiliency, mental health, and so much more. Student leaders participate in the building, facilitation, and assessment of each squad lesson. Squad members also become trained peer health educators and help us deliver the condom and barriers and healthy relationship lessons during our 10-day curriculum. They're also trained to distribute condoms to their peers, but most importantly, Sex Ed Squad is a space where students feel seen, heard, and valued. Sex Ed Squad works because everyone views their peers as more credible than other age groups. For example, people who believe their peers are using condoms are twice as likely to use one. We are not just made up of youth leaders, we're made up of culture shifters. So people who feel empowered to help change the norms around safer sex, LGBTQ+ inclusivity, consent, and more. Empowering and educating young people to build the world they want to see creates an attitude shift among other students as well. Research shows during teen-to-teen education, youth are more likely to ask questions and open up than in adult-to-teen education. We have a huge impact every year at all of the schools. We train 65 to 80 peer health educators every year across JUHSD. And while our goal is a 15% knowledge increase around our varied topics, last year we had an impressive increase of 28%, as measured by our knowledge assessment surveys. Our program is not just effective in teaching new skills and expanding knowledge, our students are also actively educating their peers on school campuses. However, the most meaningful impacts of Squad cannot be measured through a knowledge assessment. Squad members experience a safe community space where they are free to express themselves and be vulnerable in a welcoming and supportive environment. Every year we see the positive impact this type of space can have on their confidence, mental health, and resiliency. So next we have the 10-day curriculum, which aims to deliver our content in inclusive and diverse ways by prioritizing youth engagement and peer-to-peer learning. This includes an English language learner adapted curriculum as well. Studies have shown that youth are more receptive to sex education when taught by a guest speaker. All of our educators go through intensive training and have a background in public health or child development. We cover important information and skill building around identifying unhealthy, abusive relationships, practicing consent, creating inclusive environments, and assessing risky behaviors around pregnancy, STIs, and more. And this is just a small snapshot of what we do. During our program, students gain the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed decisions throughout their lives. Students loved their experience with us so much that they asked for a refresher curriculum in their junior, senior years. A lot of students realized that there was critical information from freshman health that they needed a refresher on before stepping into their adult stage in life. Through our health education curriculum, we reach over 1,200 students every year. Last year, participants achieved over a 35% knowledge increase, and we usually aim for 20%. Again, this demonstrates that students are not only learning new material and skills, but are also more likely to share these tools with others. So now what I have here is a message. We received several messages from students over the years, and I would like to share a recent note that we received on August 24th of this year. It reads, "I just graduated from high school in May 2022, and I just wanted to write to say thank you for all the sex ed programs you guys did for us in the JUHSD. Recently, I used what I learned in your workshops to help a friend in a harmful relationship that may have even been grooming. Without you all, I wouldn't have known what to do. Keep it up. Your work is so important." So that was very wonderful to get. And then our final branch is the Condom Access Project, also known, also known as CAP, where we have trained CAP providers, such as Sex Ed Squad and JUHSD staff alike, can distribute condoms to students. CAP makes it easier for sexually active teens to make safe and smart decisions by helping them get condoms when they need them. Studies show that giving teens free condoms does not make them have more sex, but instead leads teens who are already having sex to use condoms more often. Increasing access to condoms through CAP is a critical way to lower pregnancy and STI rates among sexually active youth in our district. CAP is part of a larger statewide plan to decrease STI rates among California teens. CAP distributors help give out around 15,000 condoms every year on JUHSD campuses. So with Project Play, JUHSD stands apart from other school districts by creating inclusive spaces and an overall culture that prioritizes student health and wellness. In this respect, JUHSD is a leader among California school districts, as many students outside of our district are still struggling to get these needs met. For the last part of our presentation, we have some people, some students, some youth here to tell you about the impact we have had in their professional and personal lives. So, great.
So, yeah, we do need you to come up so that the microphone will pick you up.
You're first. Because Dylan had to go. I'm so sorry for that last minute.
Okay. Hello, I am Arwen Grosby. I'm a former squad member and recently graduated from Westmore in May 2022. In high school, a person goes through multiple experiences, core experiences, all within the span of 4 years. It is vital that students have proper guidance and genuine relationships during this short span of time. I can recall a moment from my freshman year when I was struggling. My household wasn't stable, nor was my health. I could prove that through my 504 form, multiple truancies, and the reports I had made to the police. I was desperate for help, for someone to listen to me, a person I could trust and rely on. I was losing hope, and I was heading towards a path I wouldn't be proud of. But luckily for me, my health class provided a visit from the Daly City Youth Center and Sex Ed Squad. There I met Sahar. They presented multiple topics, ranging from physical to mental health, presenting topics I have never been introduced to. I vividly recall our lesson about healthy relationships, and at the end of the session, Sahar had said, "It's never too late to ask for help. It is not just my job to listen, but my duty as a person to support you." Such a simple sentence, but a major message of empathy, and to most students, that is rare. From there on, I admired Sahar and those from the Daly City Youth Center. I made a commitment to myself that I would join them someday because of the maturity and awareness they radiated. When my junior year rolled along, I finally seized my chance, and I haven't looked back since. There is no question in my mind when I declare that Sex Ed Squad opened up perspective for me. We have bonded over a great deal of different topics. The atmosphere in the room is positive and loving. Never before have I been so active in a community that values diversity. We were highly regarded and held each other to high standards. Sex Ed Squad has developed an unrivaled community and space. Sex Ed Squad offers more than simply educational opportunities and community involvement. We all received mentorship and kindness that made us optimistic for our futures, and now we strive to pay it forward to our community. Even though I am no longer an active member since graduating Westmore, the knowledge, the experiences, and the memories are limitless. Having a trusted adult to guide you into passions and healthy environments for development is needed everywhere, and the opportunity should not be limited. Thank you. Hi, my name is VJ, and I'm a former sex ed student member from Jefferson High School student, and a former Jefferson High School student. I joined sex ed squad in my junior and senior year of high school. I learned important lessons about consent, what are healthy, unhealthy relationships, mental health, barriers, and etc. It made me realize how necessary and serious health and well-being are. The impact of having a trusted adult throughout squad made me feel safe to talk about sexual health. I also had an open space to discuss these topics with other students. Play guided us to make safer decisions in regards to health and personal development. I learned how to set boundaries, become a leader, be a teammate to fellow squad members, build my public speaking skills, and learn how to provide support and help each other. Squad is fun because it is a chance to meet people from different grades and schools within the JUHSD district, and it's a great community to form friendships. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ira. My pronouns are she, her. I graduated Westmore last year, and I'm the current intern at Play. So 1 minute is truly not enough to encapsulate all of the magic and everything that goes on with Play and Sex Ed Squad. But here I am, just 1 minute. Sex Ed Squad and Play has yet been such a vital role in my whole being. Finding community and feeling a sense of belonging at school was what made my high school experience special at Westmore because of Sex Ed Squad. The very peak of COVID my junior year, the virtual meetings we had weekly was what helped me feel connected with others literally during a time of isolation. It was the only thing I looked forward to every week. I got to hear how everyone was doing while learning about topics that were taught to me as things that should never be spoken of, but I came to realize were so important. Just as important as my English class, probably. It unfolded a new world for me because what we do in Sex Ed Squad is what education is supposed to look like. Squad made me feel empowered and inspired because of the knowledge and experience I've obtained. It's a privilege to even have the opportunity to learn about safe sex practices, reproductive, and LGBTQ+ rights, but also teach them to others being second-year crew my senior year. Now that I'm in my first year of college at Skyline, I'm continuing the work that I did even after high school by being the intern at the Daly City Youth Health Center and as a sociology major and minoring in public health next semester to continue to teach and make impact for future generations. Being the intern at the Daly City Youth Health Center is something I cherish and hold dearly because I get to work alongside the most compassionate and hardworking mentors, Mac, Nora, and Sahar, that put in so much hard work to create safe spaces for young people like me to learn and be themselves. Thanks to them and Squad, I can confidently teach someone about anything sex ed and be myself. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nick. I graduated from Westmore in 2019. I spent most of my high school career in Sex Ed Squad and even a portion of my college career where I was a former Project Play intern and I was also a Project Play volunteer. And I can say, after spending 5 years of my life dedicated to Sex Ed Squad, that it was probably the best thing that I could have done. Getting slightly emotional. The impact that Squad has had on me, on my career, on my interests, my values, and even the people that I surround myself with have been immense. Much of my time in Sex Ed Squad was spent learning and teaching about gender, about sexuality, about social justice, about harm reduction, privilege, how to be an ally, how to take care of your mental health, how to communicate effectively, and so much more. I realized that I wanted to be an educator because Sex Ed Squad gave me the tools and the opportunities to interact with my peers and learn from them and teach them. Beyond the educational aspect of Squad, I met my favorite people in Squad. The people that are in Sex Ed Squad are kind and caring individuals that want to create positive change, and people that you form lifelong bonds with. My best friend and my partner are actually people that I met in Squad. I can't begin to emphasize how important it was for me and for many other Squad members to have had a place where we knew we were being heard and understood and accepted and loved. The sense of community and belonging that I felt in Squad is priceless, and I did not expect to be emotional. I'm so sorry. But all of this exposition is to say that Sex Ed Squad has impacted my life so much and so positively. I overcame my fear of public speaking in Squad. I learned to love myself in Squad. I learned to, I just became an overall better person. I became someone open and understanding and loving, and I found my life's passion. I fell in love, all because I made the wonderful decision to join Sex Ed Squad when I did. Thank you so much for listening to all of us. Oh goodness, I can't look at you guys, I'm gonna cry. Thank you.
And then we had one student who had to leave early, so Sahar is gonna read this testimony, their testimony.
Hi, again, I'm Sahar, but Dylan apologized for having to leave a little bit early, but I'm going to read their testimony that they sent me. It says, I think that Sex Ed Squad is an important resource to have on campus because it gives us a very important and needed safe space and also provides very valuable information to the student body. Personally, for me, it helped me learn about my own sexuality and gender, and if it wasn't for Sex Ed Squad, I probably wouldn't have had the confidence to come out as non-binary. Even before I was in Sex Ed Squad, I remember learning a lot of really important knowledge to have in the 10-day curriculum taught by some of the squad members in our health classes when I was a freshman. I'm really glad I learned about a lot of those things like contraception, healthy relationships, STIs, and other stuff like that. I think it's really important for students to learn this information because a lot of people my age are first starting dating and first starting to become sexually active. And this information can legitimately save lives. Squad hasn't had nothing but a positive impact on my life, and being in Squad made me a better person. Thank you.
So I don't know how much time we have left. I have two quick testimonials from two staff members who were unable to make it because of unforeseen circumstances. Okay to read those real quick?
Sure, yes, absolutely.
So the first one is from Melissa Ambrose, the wellness coordinator. And she says, I'm grateful that our district has such strong employees as the members of the Project Play team. The sexual health curriculum that they deliver to our students in health is critical in terms of adolescent development. We must engage students in conversations about reproductive and sexual health, their bodies, gender, consent, respect, and healthy communication. Our students live in a complex and rapidly changing world and need the open trust of the Project Play teachers to allow them to explore the hard conversations about sex, sexuality, and gender. The emphasis on consent, communication, and respect are critical in this hyper-media age, and the Project Play team offers acceptance, openness, and support for these difficult conversations. Yay, Project Play. And then this next one, I'm gonna remove my mask for this one, is from Lisa Raskin. To the JUHSD board, I'm writing this letter in support of Project Play. As a health teacher at Westmore High School and the JUHSD district health lead, I can say for certain that Project Play has been an integral part of the health curriculum and a huge support for students who are curious about their changing bodies and identities. They create a safe space for students to ask questions and are knowledgeable about the latest information as it pertains to the LGBTQ+ community. As a teacher who is from an older generation, it is extremely important to be up to date on the appropriate language as it informs me on how best to address and support my students. Project Play has also supported my students in my academic language development class and with the 5-day refresher course. Many of these students have not had the benefit of taking health during their freshman year, or due to language barriers, did not have a comprehensive understanding about safe sex practices and gender. Project Play provides the chance for our older students to prepare for adulthood by presenting real-life scenarios and options. Without the support of Project Play, our students would not be as knowledgeable about how best to sexually protect themselves and advocate for others. I appreciate all the time, dedication, and thoughtfulness that the Project Play educators have put into their lessons, and I look forward to continuing sharing students with them. Sincerely, Lisa Raskin. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for your time and attention.
Open it up to the board.
Thank you for your time and attention. I just want to quickly say thank you for providing this service, a much-needed service for the students in our community. Thank you for making this difficult issue into a more comfortable issue to talk to. I know when I was growing up that we didn't have those. I didn't have those resources, and it's always like, well, where do I find accurate information? So thank you for dispelling all the misinformation out there and actually speaking the truth about sexuality. And I think it's more than that. I think it's, like you said, it's, LGBTQ. It's about being safe, about how to be in this healthy relationship, how to love yourself. And thank you for all those testimonials. They were so heartwarming and inspirational. To see somebody find a passion and be inspired and stick with it and say, this is what I want to, aspire to be, and this is what's helped me grow, and invest back into that thing that helped you grow is such a something that a lot of people don't find. So, I hope that you all hold on to that and definitely spread that inspiration out to all those students and anybody that you meet as well. So thank you all, staff, for all your input and investing in the youth to help them grow as well and loving themselves. So thank you. Clap for that, but thank you.
Clap for that.
You don't have to clap for that.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you so much for that presentation, and it's a wonderful reminder that we take care of the whole student in this district. That a student cannot succeed academically if they are not comfortable with who they are. And what you presented this evening is a significant component of helping students understand who they are. And your testimonials verify that, and those are fantastic stories. I mean, to hear what the program has done for you just by being a part of the Sex Ed Squad, let alone turn around and being support for your fellow students, it's huge. And I am so grateful to be a part of a district that provides this for our students and to see our young alumni blossom because of this program as well. So keep up the good work, and I'm just, again, grateful to the work that you're doing, and I know we're going to continue to do great work through this program. And just the last little bit that you put on one of the slides, Sex Ed Squad is a safe space where students feel seen, heard, and valued. And that's what we want for all of our students, for them to feel seen, heard, and valued. So thank you for doing that work.
I know you're going to speak. I just want to remind that we do have a blue card on this agenda.
On this? Oh,
yes. So
okay,
after you're
great.
done, we can
Perfect,
call
thank
on
you.
the blue card. Yes.
Thank you. I'm trying not to get emotional here because I like to think you save lives. You're saving lives. And when I see young women of color coming up here and speaking about what they're talking about, and remembering how it was when I was growing up, there's no way I would have talked to my mom. There were no safe spaces. All I did was turn to my friends, and they didn't know anything. I mean, I remember not being about 16 and not knowing how babies were made. Really, 16. And I got my sister's college textbook, and I saw the sperm fertilizes the egg, but how does that happen? And it's not in the book. So I went to church, and when my friends told me, I went, no, and I was 16. And I'm going to say something really, really personal. I was at 15, I didn't know it, but I was being groomed by a coach who was my friend. And I would tell my friends about it, and they would just go, ew, just stay away from him. I didn't go to any adult, not one adult did I go to. Now, safe spaces that you're creating, it's so amazing to me. I'm so glad you came and presented, because I really didn't know the expanse of what Project Play did and the impact that you're having on people, and that how really, truly vital this program is to our students. And I'm really grateful for all the work that you're doing, and I'm happy for us to continue providing these great services and connecting. And I want to visit you and hang out, see what you guys are doing. And because, it's about connections. And my daughter graduated from Jeff last year, and she used to talk about Sex Ed Squad. But I used to always think it was, oh, how you get condoms? That's what I thought it was. But she was talking about, unhealthy relationships. And I said, that's what you're learning there? I did not know that. But now I know even more of what you're doing. So thank you so much for coming. And I will come visit. Yeah. I'll send you an email. Definitely do that. Very interested. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I'd like to call the blue card. Yes, so I'd like to call Marguerite Machin. I'm sorry.
Hi, everybody. Is the microphone, does it help? Is it on? I couldn't tell.
It is on, and I just want to remind you, we do have 3 minutes to speak.
Oh, yes. So, hi, everybody. Some folks know me in here. My name is Marguerite Machin. I'm a substitute teacher for the district for over 4 years now. I graduated from Westmore in 1989, and I started at the Daly City Health Center with Project Play in 1997. When we had all kinds of money, McKinnon UBJ, like we literally had so much money. We had like 8 full-time staff. It was ridiculous. So that's when the teen pregnancy rate was ridiculous in California. So in 1997, I think I was the longest standing employee. I was there for 16 years. So I was there from 1997, right out of graduate school, saying, I only can commit to a year. I remember getting interviewed. They're like, are you sure? Like, you're really overqualified. I was like, well, I'll commit to a year. I was there 16 years. Why? Because of all of these testimonies and all of these amazing people. I was literally there from age 25 to 41. It took amazing, like so impactful. And I'm just glad I got to speak after them. Just to share with you, I was a really Thornton High School all the way, Carla knows, like that was my baby, and I always wanted to go to Thornton. So I did the Sex Ed Squad there. The first 3 years was only females. Mario Reynolds came up to me, a young man that was there, said, why is it only women? I want to be. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mario gave everybody problems. I was like, he's the one who wants to be in there. Started then having young men in Sex Ed Squad. And from that point, I also helped with the other ones, but Thornton was always my baby. Like I was there all the time. And I just wanted to share that during that time, we had a mentor program. There was this Sunday, I'm having my 18th annual comedy night fundraiser for my Machin Center. And I have 8 students that were at Thornton Sex Ed Squad that are coming. 3 of them are married. They all have great jobs. And they continue to talk about the services and the testimonies of Project Play. So this is impacting for years. These young men and women are in their late 30s now. I'll be 51. They're 10 years, but the impact goes on, and they share with people. And the younger people, I live right on Verano Drive, right by Westmore football field. I have over a dozen students on my block that have all know about Sex Ed Squad. Some of them been in Sex Ed Squad. The health, I just am the biggest fan ever in my life of Project Play, and I'm so glad you learned more from the presentation because I'm very critical of things and programs, and I'm just so glad it's still going on because during the recession, as a lot of folks know here, it was rough. Our hours were cut to 20, and we still stayed because of the impact we knew it had on students. And lastly, once again, I'm just so excited to hear this and know it's going. CAP was very difficult. I remember talking to Mr. Irish as he was principal of Thornton High School. Remember that, Carla? I'm like, look, you need to understand how important this is. But CAP was hard. It took like 18 months, as I recall, to really come in. Sexual orientation and homophobia to have one day. I remember talking to Mr. Crilly about that. Like, there's been a lot of work that Project Play has done and impacted the school district with support of staff and teachers and the board. And I just wanted to recognize that tonight. I'm so glad I was available to come to share that how amazing and the impact it's had on generations and generations to folks I'm still mentoring and seeing to this day. So did I?
It's okay.
Okay, so I'm so excited.
Yes, we can feel it.
Yeah.
So you can go for a couple seconds. We appreciate your comments very much.
Thank you, and I
thank you
appreciate
for
all of you
speaking.
young people for coming and speaking, I know, and the staff, and McKinnon's so happy. Thank you.
And now for our Thornton High School updates, Ms. Baca.
Good evening, President Tejada. The next several board meetings, there will be principals coming to present and highlight some of the cool things that's happening at their school site. So tonight, we have Dr. Marenko and his staff to present on Thornton High School. Dr. Marenko.
Oh, let's clap.
Like the shorts, Dr. Marenko.
Squeeze as much of summer as I can.
I see. Summer is over, unfortunately. But that's okay. It's here in spirit.
Well, as I begin and I prepare my slides here, and you have them up here on the screen, there's a few things I'd like to say. The first is I can't wait to go home and talk to my daughter about what I witnessed today with the Student of the Month at Jefferson High School. The second is we benefit greatly from Project Play at Thornton High School, so very thankful to be part of your presentation too. And I also want to take the time to introduce the Thornton staff that's here. Carla Talkoff, Alan Vu, Hanoi, Lee Madrid. They're here representing as well as representing those that were unable to make it. And then just a special shout out to our AFT president, Ms. Monica Casey. Without her and her openness and guidance, the school was still, the school continues to be as successful as when she was principal. So thank you. So with that, if I could think of a singular document that outlines and holds our school accountable to what our goals are for the year, it's the Single Plan for Student Achievement, or the SIPSA. And I'd like to share what our vision is before we begin. And it's aligned with our equity statement for our school district, as well as the to and through for JUHSD. And it reads, Thornton High School's vision is to equitably provide our students with the academic tools and skills to achieve post-secondary success and become responsible citizens, promoting self-worth, social emotional growth, and community engagement. So we pride ourselves on having high expectations and meeting those expectations every day. We are many things, and some of the things that we want to highlight today include our shared leadership and collaborative culture, and examples of that are our growing and budding professional learning community teams. Our foundation over the last couple of years, not only because of the pandemic, but because, to your point, Trustee Lee, about the holistic approach to students, is why we focus much of our work on social and emotional learning. With that, we've made tremendous strides in grading for equity. We've centralized remote independent study for our school district, and we are very grateful that the school district and executive cabinet had placed confidence and faith in us in executing that. This is a big year for us as well, as we are embarking on our Western Association for Schools and Colleges, or WASC, accreditation cycle. And the backbone of what we do at our school is the multi-tiered systems of supports framework for addressing the needs of all students. We do many great things, but we also have needs and we also have challenges. We have challenges with attendance. Because of our schedule and because of the schedules that many of our students have, we also face co-curricular experiences. We also have challenges in identifying or early identification of students to Thornton. And there's many barriers that we are looking at to identifying how we can explore and expose students to the Thornton model at an earlier point when students are credit deficient or in need of a change to their academic setting. We have many ways that we engage our families, yet we can still improve on our family engagement. We have many staff members that provide lots of mentoring to our students, yet there's still room for growth in that area. And we are embarking on many different ways that we provide social and emotional learning for our students, yet there are additional ways that we can leverage our partnerships with Project Play or our partnerships with success centers, fresh lifelines for youth, that can also align with our social and emotional learning goals. So with that, our planned improvements include the expansion, not the contraction, of intervention. We want to be able to provide access to employment, health and wellness, and career opportunities for our students. We recently raised our graduation level to a point where we are no longer a school in comprehensive school improvement, yet those graduation rates can increase, and we'd like them to exceed 80%, with an attendance rate to exceed 90%. And also, areas of planned improvement include additional ways that we can engage families. We have 3 goals and strategies on how to improve that. We have an academic goal, we have a family engagement goal, and we have a support services goal. So with the academic goal, we want to continue to evaluate grading for equity and expand our universal design for learning models. We want to assess and continue to assess using a variety of indicators, not just state testing, but also ways that we do that every day in our classrooms and through summative assessments to drive our instructional practices. And we want to continue to collaborate. Our culture at Thornton High School has and always will be a culture of collaboration. And ways that we do that are through professional learning communities. Our second goal includes family engagement. We want to increase community partnerships. We have great partnerships now, though we can increase those so that we can have yet a greater presence as a community member. And we want to also outreach through multiple methods and languages. We've increased our outreach through newsletters, through our website, through what we used to call back to school nights, what we now call family community celebrations. And there are ways that we can continue to expand our exposure and our outreach to families. Our third goal includes support services. We want to expand our support services that are aligned with the American School Counseling Association model. We want to continue to improve our attendance rates, and ways to do that include addressing root causes to provide targeted support services. And we want to continue our social and emotional learning model and framework at a variety of different levels, not just at the classroom level, but at the school-wide level, at the community level, and at the family engagement level. When we look at expenditures, part of our success as a remote independent study program includes our partnership and our investment in Ingenuity, which is our learning management system, which is at a cost of about $36,000 a year. A big reason why we are successful in our work with our students has to do with our investment in our staff. So it's important that we continue to invest in our staff, and we estimate that at about $10,000 a year so that our staff can continue to develop professionally in a variety of different ways. Field trips, or what we now call community-based instruction, at about $5,000 a year. And examples of that include exposure to workforce development programs, community colleges, and universities, as these are the next steps for our students. Instructional materials in the area of about $10,000. An example of, as we know, instructional materials are expensive, and an example of that is the new lab equipment that we received for our science department. And continue to invest in our school social worker, which is split funded between our school site budget and the school district, which allows us to expand services, not just for our students, but for our families. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to present to you all. And I also want to give a special shout out to the executive cabinet and to the school board, because you've been tireless advocates for Thornton High School. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I'm speaking a lot tonight. I feel like
It's good.
lots of gems here. Well, you know, I think everyone knows how I feel about Thornton High School. You know, my family personally have directly benefited from the services and support of all the teachers and staff at Thornton High School, including Dr. Marenko, Ms. Casey, Ms. Carla, Mr. Vu. You know, so I am always going to advocate for all the wonderful things that you are doing to support the students there. You know, sometimes we all just, you know, life happens, there's challenges, and for Thornton to be there to help pick up those pieces and bridge those gaps and meet the students where they need to give those services so they can kind of get to where they need to go, you know, not necessarily the traditional way, but to show that students there are other opportunities other than what everybody else is doing, that you can still be just as successful, I think speaks volumes. So again, thank you all for all the hard work that you do and continue to do to support the students there. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the presentation, Dr. Marenko. Just one quick question, really. What you mentioned grading for equity. And you're evaluating it. Whereabouts are you right now with regards to that?
Thank you for asking that question. We have a contract with an individual, Dr. Eric Twaddell, who works with a very prominent organization across the country. So we have the benefit of collaborating with him. Ms. Baca has connected us with Dr. Twaddell. And in our last conversation, when we discussed our grading for equity, which is a way for us to be more fair, to be more motivational, to be less biased in our grading, and to be more accurate, he shared with us that when compared to other programs such as Thornton High School, we are at a level that he has yet to see. And it is a direct result of the teachers and counseling staff and all the staff just rallying around to learn more about how can we be more fair, how can we continuously motivate our students, that if there is a grade that they had wanted to be better, that there is another way. And it helps reinforce that grit and resiliency and determination that it's in every Thornton student.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Good presentation, of course. Thank you so much to you and to the team for the stellar work you continue to do at Thornton. I always love coming over there, and I think I'm overdue for another visit. So I'll make a point to get over there.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. Thornton is, when I describe Thornton to others who don't know it, they go, it's not a real high school. I go, no, it is. It's a real high school. And when I describe to them what you do there, the supports you give to students who are lacking, who are need to get their credits up, and that oftentimes students graduate early, then the people I tell that to, they'll say, oh my God, really? Can my kid go there? Go, well, we have to serve the students who need to go there right now. And just the supports that you have, it's a family. It's a family there. And I know that when we've had like when we ran our parcel tax, I mean, it was Thornton family was right there on the front lines doing a lot of the heavy lifting and going to every school to support outreach to the community. It's just that kind of place, and I'm really grateful for everything that you and the staff are doing for all of the students there. It is an incredible school, and I'm really thankful that we have you at the helm, and because I know it's deep there for you. So thank you very much. Thank you all. Okay. Now for the 2022 CASP score updates, Ms. Baca.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good night.
All right, see what happens when we talk about it.
You
You know how to
cleared the
clear
room.
it.
You know how to clear a room.
I have that effect on people, so excited to talk about the Smarter Balance scores from the administration last spring. So, okay. So just as a reminder, the CASP system is like an umbrella with many canopy of assessments. So tonight I'll be focusing on the 21-22 Smarter Balance assessment scores in English language arts and math, and also the California science test, and then the California alternate assessments for ELA, math, and science. The other parts of the umbrella are optional, so we will not be going over that. So before I show the scores, I want to give a little context on the testing history of the CASP. So I'm gonna start with 2018-2019. This was actually the 5th year of the Smarter Balance administration. So it was very status quo, everything seemed fine. It took about 7.5 hours to take the test in English and math, and 2 hours for science. Then 1920 happened. COVID, there was no test administration. And 2021 was a little weird. We were in distance learning, we were in hybrid, there were so many pivoting happening. And the state gave us the option of either administering our own benchmark assessments or administering the Smarter Balance assessment. Our district decided to administer the Smarter Balance. However, we only had 44% participation rate. Participation rate throughout the whole state of California was very low. So it was actually recommended that we actually don't use the 2021 as a comparison for the test that we took last year, which is the 21-22. This test was a little shorter. So they decreased the test items. It was about 5.5 hours for both English and math. And it was our 11th grade students that took the Smarter Balance. And then for the science, it was our seniors, because the expectation is that this test is administered once, either in 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade. In the past, we typically administered this to 11th graders. But because of COVID, we did not want to give them 3 assessments. So we did not test 11th graders last year, but the 12th graders had to test. This year, we will probably have to test the 12th graders again, and then another grade level. So before we look at the scores, just as a reminder, the Smarter Balance has 4 levels. So there's standard exceeded, standard met, standard nearly met, and standard not met. And the goal is that students get at least met or exceeded. So for English language arts, 62.35% of our students met standard or exceeded, and this was 6.22 percentage points from 1819. For math, we scored 33.38, and it was a slight decline of 3.88%. For science, we scored 37.61%, and it's 13.34% from the 1819 scores. So considering everything that has been happening, our district did fairly well. So this is a comparison with our district and the state. And in the past, I've clumped the county students, all of the high school districts in the county. But this year, I've decided to look at where we are relatively in each one of these high school districts and the 2 unified school districts. So I just want to give a heads up that for Cabrillo and South San Francisco, I only chose their 11th grade students to compare. So as you can see, we scored above the state average. However, we scored below San Mateo and Sequoia Union High School District. All of the districts but one increased their scores from 18 to 19. And in all of those districts there, we had the highest increase in percentage. For math, similar trend, we scored higher than California. It's still below San Mateo Union and Sequoia Union. And with math, including the state and all of these districts, all of the scores declined. For science, something very similar, where we scored higher than the state, but below than San Mateo and Sequoia and Cabrillo Unified. But all districts showed growth in science. Now, let's look at student groups. So I just want to point out that we're going to look at all students, then Asian, Filipino, Hispanic, white, 2 or more, students with disabilities, students learning English, and socioeconomically disadvantaged students. I want to point out that the African American, Native American, Pacific Islander student groups were not included in this chart because we did not have scores for them because they were not a significant subgroup. It meant that we needed at least 10 students or more to be a significant subgroup. The blue line represents the scores from 1819, and then the red line represents the scores from 21-22. As you can see, there is an increase in all of the subgroups, but except for Asian and 2 or more, where there's a slight decrease. And I also want to point out that our white student group had the highest increase in English language arts. Now, here's math. Same thing where, well, it's actually the opposite, where our scores declined. All of the student groups declined except for the Hispanic student groups. And for science, so the white student group showed the greatest increase, and the students with disabilities showed the greatest decrease. And I want to point out that in all of these 3 tests, our Hispanic group is the only group that increased in all 3 areas. Now, I'm going to change it a little, not with the standard met or exceeded, but we're going to look at the scale score trends. So with this, there's that horizontal line in the middle. So that is the mean scale score for standard met. So that is the goal for students to receive a standard met. The upper line, which is the circle with the dots, that represents our students with no disability. And then the green line represents our students with disability. The numbers at the bottom shows the difference between our students with disability and students without disability. So as you can see, there is an upward trend for the mean scale score for students with disabilities, both in English language arts and math. And also, as you can see, the gap is also narrowing for our students with disabilities. For our students learning English, without counting 21, 22, as you can see, there's also a slight increase in the student scale score. The gap increased a little bit, but not so much. For math, the scale scores increase and then the gap has decreased. But overall, there seems to be progress made for our students learning English and students with disabilities, which are our main groups that we are actually watching and making sure that we're targeting and giving supports to. Now let's look at how our schools did. So again, district-wide, we're at 62.35%, and this is how each one of our schools performed. The arrow is a comparison from what it was in 2018, 2019. So as you can see, for both Jefferson and Oceana, there was a slight decrease. But for Terra Nova, Thornton, and Westmore, there is an increase. And right at the bottom is the participation rate for each of the school site. Just as a reminder that the participation rate expectation is 95%. This is the scores for math. As you can see, there is a decrease district-wide. There is a decrease at Jefferson and Oceana, Terra Nova and Thornton increase, and then Westmore also decreased. For science, all but Thornton increased. And so I'm really happy about actually this score because it shows that our science department is working really hard in making sure that we are meeting the NGSS standards. Here's the California alternate assessment results. This assessment is for students with significant cognitive disabilities. 0% of our students met or exceeded standard in this area, but we did have 100% participation rate. And then for science, we do not have the scores available yet. So again, this is just a summary of findings that I had gone over. And finally, I'm, like what I said earlier, I'm pretty happy that, our scores had gone up, and I couldn't really pinpoint one single thing that caused, the increase, but we have implemented some changes from 2018 to 2021. So as an example, we've increased our use of tech tools, our instructional technology. So those are just some of the examples that I had written there: Google Classroom, Screencast, Gizmos, so on and so forth. We have increased our social emotional support, as you heard from Ms. Ambrose a couple of weeks ago. Our teachers and staff have looked at grading in a different lens and more of an equitable lens. Dr. Marenko talked about it in his presentation, where teachers are actually looking at their grading practices and see if it's either harming students. So for instance, there's a lot more teachers now that are giving retakes and redos. They're looking at not giving the 0 to 59%. They're changing their scale. We're at the very beginning stages of this, but we're really carefully examining how we're grading our students. Inclusion, we now have more students in the general education setting getting content standards. And so I just want to point out Terra Nova High School specifically, because I believe in 1819, I think it's an ELA, where they had like 0% students with disability that met or exceeded standards. And now I believe they have like 16% or something like that, but they have increased their scores. In addition, we're working with Courageous Conversation on how to really have tough conversations about the systemic racism in our school system. Our administrators are getting trained right now, and our plan on January 25th is to have a PD district-wide for all certificate and classified staff to partake into introductory to Courageous Conversation. And in addition, some of our school sites have implemented flex time, advisory, 4x4 schedules, so they're changing their schedule to meet the needs of our students. So those are just some of the new things that's happening, but I want to point out again that, we're continuing with constructing meaning. We've had that initiative for many, many years now. We have our wonderful instructional coaches and our director of curriculum and assessment who's really, helping us lead this work, and along with, many teachers and staff. So with that, that is the cast for 2022. Thank you.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Lots of questions, lots of comments.
Thank you for the presentation. I don't have that many questions or comments, but we're just initially implementing the grading for equity. I know we talked about it before, and is it just per teacher basis with the implementation, or is it something that, I guess it's hard to kind of implement like a certain set of, I guess, like rules, I guess, of how to do it? Is it just kind of per teacher discretion, or is it something like, am I explaining myself correctly?
Okay, that question. So this is the second year that we've been participating in grading for equity, and we've had 2 cohorts of teachers already. So last year we had about 20 teachers participate in a cohort, and this year around 20 also. And what they do is our Joe Feldman and his organization present these 11 equitable grading practices. And what teachers do is that they learn about these practices and they pick one. They pick one practice and then they apply it into their current classroom, either in just one period, in all of their classes. It's really up to them. And they've set some ways to measure effectiveness. So they look at pre and post data to see if there is success. And in between that, they also receive coaching from Courageous Conversation so that they can talk to somebody, and their coaches are from all over the United States. So some other people are also, doing the same practice, so they're having a conversation. It's like, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try this? And, just have that open dialogue and set some goals. And so this has been a voluntary PD for now. And we are hoping that, eventually, like constructing meaning, it will just become part of who we are as JUHSD. But the teachers who have participated really, really appreciated that freedom to really look and examine different practices that they choose. And it happens 4 times. So there's 4 cycles. So they get to choose 4 different grading practices, or they can keep choosing the same one and see how it improves from the beginning of the year till the end of the year.
Well, I know that during COVID, it was a topic of discussion, because there wasn't really, we had to adapt. So is there less pushback? Are the teachers more open to the practice now than, open more to the idea, I guess, than they were previously?
Most definitely. And it's our, teachers talking to other teachers, saying how this is really great. Students feel more confident that they can improve their grades. And so the conversation, that it was a really tough meeting, but the conversation, and we're just moving forward with it. And so yeah, there is just a more positive outlook on changing the way we grade things. That's very encouraging. Thank you for that.
Uh, On that same token, I mean, you said 20, so we've got roughly 40 educators who've been through the training so far. So anecdotally, you would say, you'd be able to say that the students in those classes are probably are the ones that you're saying are more confident and probably, if we were to go back and look at their specific score data, probably would see that they're the ones who are helping drive up some of these scores that that you presented tonight. I mean, not that I would want to see that, but I mean, if you were to dig down and look at that
Drive up those scores.
probably see that type of data, I would imagine.
Probably. I would assume so. It's kind of hard to correlate it with Smarter Balance because they only take it in the 11th grade.
Right.
But one of the things that we can look at is the Renaissance ELA and Math, which is their benchmark assessment that they administer in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So it's something to, really look at. The other thing that Grading for Equity does is that they do a student focus group. And so it would be interesting to hear from the same group of students from who had teachers who participated in this PD. I believe there's also going to be a parent meeting about Grading for Equity sometime in spring, so that parents are also aware, because this is a change in mindset. Basically saying that we're not just all about points anymore. We're really about really learning. And it's a change because we're so used to just, accumulating every single point so we can get that, that bump up.
And it is also encouraging just to see that in the disaggregated data that the students with disabilities and others, that their scores are ticking up. And would you say then that the inclusion piece is probably the biggest driver for that? Okay, that's good. And clearly, I think, as we continue to do the equity work and the anti-racism work in particular, that's going to help continue to shift our mindsets overall. So this is really, really great. Is there, again, with regards to flex time and advisory, do we see, I mean, it's probably still too soon to see the impact, the positive impacts from that, or do we have any anecdotal evidence to suggest that there's?
Hearing from the teachers who are participating in Grading for Equity, having that flex time really helps, especially when students have to make up assessments. That time, the targeted support that they can provide our students is really, really helpful. And so our teachers really appreciated it. But what I can ask is, Jefferson High School, this will be their 3rd year with flex time. So we can probably ask and see, how it's going. So when Mr. Harrigan presents, we can do that in his presentation.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Baca.
As always, thank you. I think, so Terra Nova has flex time now, yes?
All schools have
Except
flex time right now
Westmore.
except for Westmore, but I know that they're having a discussion right now or this year to see if they can implement it the following year.
Our students on Student Advisory Council discussed that. They're actually going to present to the leadership. And they're bringing students from Terra Nova and Jefferson to present as well to the leadership there. Because, so the student, she's a senior, she said, but, I would hope that this will help my 3 siblings who are coming behind me. And I think it's I thought it was confusing myself at first, because we were in the pandemic when it happened. But I know that Carly really appreciated it, and she could always count on the flex time to make up some work or get caught up, or her friends would miss something so they could take a test. it was really helpful, and we had heard that from students and student advisory as well. But I also thank you for asking a question about grading for equity, because I had the same questions that way. And it's quite a commitment to join a cohort. That
Change mindset.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Thank
that's a-
you, teachers.
slowly but surely. Thank you so much for clearing the room. No, I'm kidding.
One more
No,
thing
this
about
is
grading
great.
for equity that I forgot to mention
Uh-huh.
is that our administrators are also participating. So one administrator
great.
from each site also has, we have our own cohort that we talk to around like the United States. It's fascinating how many, districts, like, Santa Barbara and New York participating in this. So it's
That's great. That's great. I'd love to hear more about that.
One last question. Are we using a particular year as a base year, considering that a lot of these initiatives we've started over the past 3 years? Is 1819 sort of the base year that we're using for our own purposes? What would you suggest?
For the data, we'd probably build off of 1819 and then skip the 2 years and then 21, 22.
Okay.
Thank
It'll be
you.
interesting to see pre and post COVID.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Definitely. Of course, Carly was not happy to take that science cast. I know. But she did say that she was surprised at how well she did, or she felt she did, because it wasn't foreign completely. That was good to hear. She learned something. Okay, now for our action items. First is our contract with Consolidated Engineering Laboratories for construction inspection services. Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. Before the board tonight is a contract with Consolidated Engineering Laboratories for construction inspection services related to the new district office and adult education buildings. Consolidated Engineering will handle the more technical and engineering portions of the necessary inspections. This is standard for a project this size. And Ms. Phillips is here tonight if you have additional questions. The contract is not to exceed $595,714.90. And it would be paid with bond funds.
Questions?
Straightforward.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next we have the public disclosure of proposed bargaining agreement with American Federation of Teachers, Local 1481.
Thank you. So later in the agenda, in fact, I think it's the next item, Ms. Lujan will be asking the board to approve a tentative agreement with AFT. And this agreement includes salary increases. Whenever we have salary increases, AB 1200 stipulates that we have to, prior to approving the new collective bargaining agreement, we have to adopt a public disclosure document. And so that's what you have in front of you. The public disclosure document shows that the district can meet the projected costs in this fiscal year and the subsequent 2 years. It is noted in this document that the district will be using our reserves to cover the increased costs. The County Office of Education has affirmed this document as well. And so at this point, I would just recommend that the board approve the public disclosure as presented.
All right, do you have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now on to our human resources. On
Good
approval
evening.
of the tentative agreement with
Yes.
AFT 1481.
Good evening, everyone. The first item this evening is the tentative agreement with AFT 1481. The tentative agreement includes some contractual language changes as well as some salary increases. We have agreed to a 3% increase for this current school year as well as for next year. And also increase the substitute teacher rate so that way we're more comparable to other districts within the area.
Move to approve the tentative agreement with AFT 1481.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next we have the salary schedule revision for unrepresented employees.
Thank you. The next item this evening is a salary schedule revision for unrepresented employees. The salary schedule revision is the same increase as what was approved for members of AFT 1481.
Approve?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now the amendment to the superintendent contract.
Hello again. The next item is the amendment to the superintendent contract. This amendment only amends the salary to make the superintendent contract salary increase comparable to what was approved for AFT 1481 for the 22-23 school year as well as the 23-24 school year.
Approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And, oh, I think there's a mistake here. We should be getting more money.
Even after all this, we still can't get the $300 a month.
We can't even hit 300. Okay.
Getting closer, though.
Governing board stipend increase.
Another 10 years.
I got 4 more years to hit 300.
Goals, hashtag goals.
Sorry.
Move to approve.
Oh, wait, she did not.
Oh, sorry. Oh, did you want to go? Sorry.
You really want that 286,
Oh,
huh?
man.
Oh, no, 294.
Go ahead.
The last item from Human Resources this evening is a governing board stipend increase. The percentage increase for the current school year as well as the next school year is equal to what was approved for AFT 1481.
Move to approve the increase.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. No. Consideration of future agenda items? Adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned at 8:47.